I once finished a full session, added up everything it costs for me to be there, and realized that I had basically paid for the privilege of working. So in this video, I'll be sharing all the pricing mistakes that kept me stuck for years, so you don't have to repeat a single one. So the first would be pricing from fear. So back in the day when I decided I wanted to be a professional photographer, I was still finding my feet, not quite sure how to price myself. And just that fear of people saying no, or that fear of people saying, oh, it's too expensive, kept holding me back. I would see what other people were charging and I would go a bit lower to think, oh, make it more palatable for them, give them a bit more extra images, or say I'll do this, I'll do that, just to sweeten the deal. And that fear was keeping me back from like growing a business that would truly pay me what I deserve to be paid. So the second would be comparing yourself with your competitors, which is sort of what I already hinted on, right? So again, at that point, I had started, and someone I admired and looked to be doing well in the industry was charging about £150 as a starting point for her portrait sessions. And I thought, you know what, okay, I'm sort of new, but maybe instead of charging less, because at that point I knew, yeah, I couldn't charge less as well. And I thought, okay, maybe I'll give them more images, so I would be looked at as more valuable. But the truth is that I didn't really know what went into that person's pricing, right? I don't have the same clients they're working with. We don't have the same income goals. We don't have the same strategy. And so why am I copying their pricing? Because they may be going through challenges that I'm not aware of. And now I'm inheriting someone else's problems just because I'm copying them, right? And so that's one of the things I think we do in the industry, where you just, especially when you're new, you don't know what to do, you don't know how to price. We've all been through it. I've been there myself. But yeah, that sort of keeps you stuck and keeps you, oh, I can't make this work. Well, you can't make this work because you're not looking at the cold hard facts and looking at your numbers. And so if you're trying to figure out the numbers, I created a video a couple of months ago on the whole pricing systems and the whole every single cost it takes to run a business and how much it takes to also earn like the mean average salary in the UK. If you like to see that detailed breakdown and what your average minimum pricing should be, then definitely click that button above to check that video out. I think one of the worst among the whole list is not even having a pricing system at all. So just going by vibes and how rich you think the client is. I've heard, and I think this tends to be for people who work a lot commercially, and they're like asking the client, oh, what's your rate? And I'm just like, why is it changing so drastically from client to client, from person to person? And I do understand, like, different sort of businesses in that realm is different. But I think where I'm coming from is more for portrait photographers, where you're just guessing, or you're thinking, oh, maybe, okay, because it's 1 hour, I will charge this, because it's 2 hours, I will charge this. For me personally, I don't charge by the hour, because whether you're spending an hour with me or you're spending 5 hours with me, that whole experience and the end images is going to deliver. It's going to be of high quality. So that's kind of irrelevant, because there's so many other things that is involved in actually running a photography business. So you being 1 hour with me doesn't mean my insurance cost is going to be less. It doesn't mean like, my ad spend is going to be less. It doesn't mean the studio cost is going to be less. So why should I charge you just based on how long you're staying with me in the studio? No, I have to charge you based on what it actually takes for me to provide this service to you. And so I think that's one thing that keeps a lot of photographers back, just guessing, no pricing structure, no idea, no system, no forecasting, no revenue goal. Yeah, not having pricing at all is actually the worst. So what changed for me? In a couple of videos previous week, I sort of shared when I decided I wanted to take photography seriously. I knew that the numbers had to work for me. I dived into marketing, and through that, the whole world of running a business became apparent. And I started looking at numbers, looking at costs, looking at, okay, if I want to earn like a minimum mean average salary in the UK, which is 35,000, if I want to earn that, what do I have to bring in revenue wise to be able to pay myself that salary, because apart from that 35,000 I would like to pay myself, I would also have to, cover the costs of running the business, and I also have to pay 25% corporation tax. And so that's sort of what changed for me. I did the numbers, calculated everything, and found what the minimum should be. So currently, I know what my minimum should be from each session, and it's not dependent on how long they are in the studio with me. It's basically what my business needs to be able to run and function. And so right now it's changed over the years. So in the past, my clients would pay a session fee or a deposit, and then at the session they then choose the products or the images or whatever they want and then pay towards it. But experience teaches you a lot. You have people who claim to have amnesia, they didn't know your pricing, or oh, I can't afford it. I'm like, well, we had a consultation. I sent you my pricing, list. Why are you shocked by my price? And yeah, over the years, I'll have one or two people that were just being difficult in that regard. And I'm like, you know what? I can't be bothered to deal with it. You're going to make it spoil it for everyone else, but I have to now implement things that make sense for my business. So currently, right now, as I speak, my minimum spend has to be paid before clients come into the studio. So they can pay it in full, or they can break it up and pay it in monthly installments. I don't mind, because again, I understand not just everyone can always pay in full. But at the end of the day, the minimum it takes for me to run my business needs to be paid. And then of course I have other higher tiered collections which people get. So thinking about people who want the bigger albums with lots of images, people who want wall art, people who want like prints, and some of the other products I offer, then we're thinking of people going into the higher collections. But yeah, so that's sort of pretty much what changed, helping me not to like run my business on emotions, on feelings, or guessing, or looking at competitors. Like, nah, I mean, do your research, right? You want to know what the market is doing, what people around you are doing in your category, not across the board, because I'm definitely not looking at shoot and burn photographers, but in my high-end category, what are other photographers doing, right? Not because I'm trying to copy them, but I'm trying to see what, the industry is at and what's sort of working. And if I feel like, oh, my client experience and my work is similar to them, just to have that insight and that touch of what's going on in the industry, but never to copy. My pricing are based on my costs of running my business, and they're based on what I want to pay myself. So that's pretty much what changed for me. And so I think I've mentioned this before, but I actually created a video that breaks down all the costs on what it takes to run a photography business. It's free of charge, so do click the button above to watch that and learn from that. If you're not yet subscribed to this channel and you're enjoying this video, what are you doing? Come on, subscribe, get me out there. When you subscribe and when you like this video and when you comment, it's giving me that boost, that adrenaline to be like, yeah, keep going, people are enjoying it, people are finding it valuable. And yeah, as a newbie on this YouTube, I say newbie, but I've been here for years, stopping off and on. But you know what I'm trying to say, to keep me going, it would be nice to see that people are actually finding this valuable, because if people can't resonate or relate to what I'm saying, then what's the whole point, right? No. So if you're enjoying this video, hit that subscribe button, click the like, leave a comment, tell me what you think about what I've shared in this video so far. I would love to hear from you. And so finally, this brings me to the numbers. I know, calculating numbers, stats is not everyone's cup of tea. So I actually have a pricing calculator which I created especially for you, as well as my whole pricing system. If you've been trying to pick it or trying to guess or trying to see my actual numbers, I've actually shared them. You just need to click the link down below in the description box, check out that pricing for profit guide. And if you want to get an amazing design template of your pricing list that you don't have to build from scratch, I've also created a pricing template which you can find in the description as well, which you can of course download also. And so yes, this brings me to the end of this video. I hope you found it insightful. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I think if you have, then you find this one valuable, where I talk about how I plan to become a millionaire in a couple of years time. That's it for now. Until next time, remember, you don't have to be a struggling artist.